Good morning. Good morning. Hope everybody is doing well today. It's your coach, Carla, Nicole. So, good morning. Good morning. I wanted to talk today about the cheerleader effect for men. I realize that a lot of you gentlemen find yourselves, desiring relationships. You want to have a lady in your life. And I want you to think about something that I don't think a lot of us gentlemen, I know that you probably aren't really thinking about when you choose the women that you want to be with. You choose the ladies. And so, one of the joys about what I do is I'm able to help men to get a little more clear on the whole nostalgia wrapped around desiring to be in a relationship. And a lot of times, what I find is the challenge is that normally when you're trying to be in a relationship, you are just throwing darts in midair, hoping that you hit a bullseye. Mind you, you don't know if there's a dartboard there or not. You're just throwing darts. I mean, really taking a chance at who you happen to come across or who you might get introduced to, or if you go on a dating site, or all kinds of different things that, are options you can use to find out um, if you can connect with a lady, a woman, a lover, whatever. But the challenge is, a lot of times, is that um, once you get into the relationship and you experience it, sometimes you find out things are a little bit different. They're not really what you're wanting. So you're getting the women, yes, but are you getting the ones that you desire? Are you able to keep the women? That's another question. So welcome everybody. I'm Coach Carla Nicole. Please be sure to share, like, and comment on this video. Now, let's get started, shall we? I want to just give you a heads up that I'm only going to go over the cheerleader persona today. It's going to be very short and sweet, but there are actually 4 personas of women that you may not even know about. Today, I'm going to talk about the cheerleader feminine persona. So you gentlemen know what she is, what she does, how you vibe, why you seem to get this type of woman. So you can kind of get into your mind of why you keep having these scenarios, shall we say. Okay? So there are 4. I'll give you the 4, by the way. There is the princess feminine persona. There is a cheerleader feminine persona. There is a builder feminine persona. And then there's a partner feminine persona. Let me just tell you, so you understand, that whatever persona I'm going over with you does not necessarily mean she's perfect. This is the woman you want to get with because she's got these amazing attributes. No. Be patient and listen to what I'm telling you so that you also understand there's benefits, pros and cons to whatever type you're dealing with. So today, like I said, we are going to talk about the cheerleader, okay? Make sure to share this and subscribe to the channel, don't forget. So, gentlemen, I don't know if you're aware, and women, this also works for you. So you can actually know what type of woman, partner, feminine persona you actually hold in your spirit. What are you actually as a woman? This is actually just as good for you guys to understand also, but this is primarily for gentlemen so they know what they're drawing to, what woman they seem to, get more and more attracted to no matter what it seems. I just keep going to the same type, right? We talk about our physical desires that we like, oh, I like them this, I like them this height, I like them with this length of hair, I like this and that. But we never talk about the personas, the characteristics What woman style type are you seeming to draw to? And which ones seem to last longer for you? We might not say forever per se, but can we get a good run? Can we get a life? Can we get a life cycle? Can we get a good 7 years out of this? Or is it always seeming to cut off after 6 months to a year or something? If that's the case, then you want to get your odds better, and then you want to get your span of time to be a little longer, of course. So, the cheerleader effect. I'm going to talk about 3 great things that a cheerleader lover comes with for men. And here's why you gentlemen seem to draw in to the cheerleader persona. Okay? So, number 1, she is very uplifting. A cheerleader is going to uplift your spirit. You're going to find that if you're down, if you're frustrated, if your money's funny, if you're just not getting the job you want, or you feel in a imbalance, this woman right here, the cheerleader, the effect of her, she's going to get you to see past your circumstance, past your, I guess we should say, imbalance or whatever. Past, she's gonna help you see past what you seem to find yourself frustrated by. So the advantage, gentlemen, and why you might find yourself drawn to the cheerleader persona, is because she uplifts you. Okay? So if you're finding that, if you just do an autopsy of, I would say, your last 3 solid relationships, or your marriage, or your partnership, or, just your last relationships, if you look in the past and kind of pay attention, you'll start to see, man, I did seem to draw to women that were uplifting me. She kind of was somebody that would incentivize me into being my best self. She did kind of give me things to look forward to, or she oftentimes would tell me the betterment of something that I only saw the detriment of. This woman is the cheerleader. She has the cheerleading, I would say, attributes, if we can, so that you understand what it looks like. Because a lot of times, like I said, men, you're choosing women and you're just throwing your darts in the unknown, and you don't know if there's a dartboard there or not. You're just picking at random. So this way you can start to see, you know what, I do seem to find myself drawn to the encouraging woman, the woman that wants to make me feel much better than I'm feeling. Okay, so that's one thing. So she's an uplifting woman. She's an uplifting spirit. You find yourself more excited since she's in your life. Okay, so think about that. That's very important. The second attribute for a cheerleading persona is she's encouraging. Now, a woman that's bringing you encouragement can really find or really build you to a newfound eccentric side of yourself. You can find that you're more creative. You can also find yourself being more, if I can say this, you're more motivated to wanting to become the better side of yourself. You're not just always humdrum. You're not feeling, upset or as often, because you're more encouraged by what you have. Because she actually someone who actually encourages you. Now, if we look at sports for just a second, we're going to take a look at sports. When we look at sports and we look at the cheerleaders, we oftentimes see that they really excite when a man wins. So let's think about that for a second. When we're at a game, be it football, or which is usually who has the most lively cheerleaders, when we look at them, we realize, you know what? She really comes with it when they win, when they score, when they're doing well, right? So that is something you need to think about when you keep finding yourself drawn to a cheerleader for a lover, partner. It can also be something that you may not even think about. But let me explain. When you're young and developing as young boys and you begin to get into sports, okay, if you notice, the programming is you're going to get the girls the more scores you get on the field or the more points you get on the board, if you know what I mean, which is true. Cheerleaders aren't cheering when you're running and when you're trying to make the score. They're not cheering then, they're cheering when it happens. So, my loves, pay attention to, ooh, when I'm winning, she's on the team for real. She's well versed. She knows what to say. She knows how to get me ready. She always comes with it when I'm, if we're going to say something like, you already have the deal. She's going to make sure that your attire, how you look, how you're groomed, how you smell, how you appear is A1. And the reason, my love, is because she's a woman that is a cheerleader that's going to encourage you to be at your higher self. She's not a woman that's just going to sit idly by. No, when you look at the sports cheerleader, what does she do? She cheers you on after you win. Or should I say, after you score. So this is something to make note of in your mind. Okay? So, gentlemen, when you are finding yourself addicted to the cheerleader, do also understand she brings joy. Here's what's true. The monotony of life, the frustration of the unseen, unawarded war that you have to deal with while you're at work or whatever you got going on, you do understand that oftentimes you're unseen, especially when you're talking about building your relationships or building your business or whatever you're building. You do understand that a lot of times you don't get a lot of, I would say, pleasantries while building. Building is something that visionary men and men that are creating businesses and things of that nature, a lot of times their wins come when the business is already established. Their wins come when they start to see, the money coming in. Their wins come at that time. So if I'm honest, your cheerleaders are going to show up when you're already winning. So, with that said, yes, she's going to bring joy, but her joy is going to come from your wins, what you've already accomplished. A lot of times you will find the cheerleader persona more pertinent in your love affair opportunity when you are winning. So that means once you have already accomplished or you have already established your win, shall we say, you'll notice that a lot of applause, cheering on, excitement's going to be going on. And that's because, my love, that's the cheerleader effect. So here's what's real, okay? I want you to hear me so that you can understand why I'm bringing this up. Understand that the more you understand with who you're dealing with, as far as who you're giving access to your life, who you're giving access to your family, and all of that is very, very, very important to understand. And so when you understand you have a cheerleader in your life, that's fine. But understand your cheerleaders don't show up while you're in the rut of growing something. A lot of times cheerleaders don't see the unseen. The cheerleaders are programmed and are also designed to see the scores when they're going up. They see the scores when they're improving. They see that, but they don't see when you're getting up at 4 in the morning and going to practice. They don't see that part. That's not the part that the cheerleaders are even remotely attracted to. Cheerleaders are very attracted to confident men. They're very attracted to successful men. They're absolutely attracted to the winners. So the men that are already winning, the cheerleaders are very, very, very aware of your wins. Trust me. And so what they have mastered, the cheerleader persona has mastered how to make sure that you, even after you win, can still feel the nostalgia from the win. So what she brings you is joy, just in her being. Here's what's deep. I know that I've been seeing a lot of conversations revolving around, what are you bringing to the table? Do you matter? Why should I take you on? I'm a man. Yes, I'm successful. Yes, I have money. But why should I bring you on? What are you bringing? Well, the cheerleader, like I said earlier, she's bringing you uplift. So she's uplifting you. She's encouraging you, and she brings you joy. So those are the three main things that a cheerleader brings. However, what I want you to also understand is she's bringing that with the understanding that you have something to encourage. So please be aware that if you notice in your past relationships, if you're finding like, man, I never really even realized that I seem to draw to girls that, or women that has only really been in my corner when I've already shown my ability. I've already shown what I'm coming with. I've already basically prevailed. I already am accomplished, right? And so in understanding this is where it gets cute. Is now that you understand that, I want you to understand why you're drawn to them. So now that we're talking about uplifting, so a woman that uplifts has a tendency to uplift a man. So what is she uplifting? Is this man on a downturn? Is this man challenged? Can she hear him discuss what he is in lack of? Here's what's true. When you are getting uplifted, that means you have some things you're challenged with. And a cheerleader is going to try to help you to get to your win. She's going to try to help you to feel better. In order to feel better, she's got to know that you're down. So what are you talking about? When you come in the presence of a cheerleader, a lot of times cheerleaders don't tell you that, yeah, I'm only here when you're winning. But what they will do is try to see, well, what have you done? And you know, they most likely have done some research, but what have you done? What's going on with you? And then they like to hear what's not winning in your life. Why? Why does the cheerleader want to know what's not winning? Is so she can help to encourage you, uplift you, and get you to a better space in mind for that particular scenario or for that experience, so that she can show you in her being in your life and what her asset is in coming into your space and into your life, what she's bringing. So she's going to look for, what's the downturns? What's the challenges? What is he struggling with? And once she figures it out, she'll try to come to some understanding of trying to give you encouragement, cheer you on. What's her cheering about? Here's, gentlemen, what you want to see. And are you where you want to be first? This is what's important for men. Are you where you want to be? Actually to your highest esteem. Do you feel that you're where you need to be? Because this is key as to why you keep choosing cheerleaders. If you're really not sure what you want, or if I can say this, if you know what you want, but you're still feeling like, man, even in my wins, I'm just not feeling any excitement about it. I mean, yeah, I'm doing well. Yeah, I'm being competitive, so I am getting an amount of nostalgia from the win, but I'm not really getting the high that I want to get for real. So what the cheerleader brings you is the nostalgia. She's bringing you the joy, which is giving you the high that you don't seem to find yourself feeling because of the lack of that relationship, that lack in your pursuit of purpose or your pursuit of success. Those pursuits, you're feeling a lot of drab from because you're not seeing a lot of benefits, if you will. So when you have a cheerleader, she actually shows you, well, here's where you're missing it. Here's your joy right here. Now you're finding yourself to be more excited about that woman, more excited about wanting to, bring her in as your main chick, lady, main queen, whatever you got going on in your relationships. You're choosing those women that are cheerleaders because they are giving you the high that you want that you're not seeming to find happening with your wins in what you're trying to do and pursue. So this is why I wanted you guys to understand the power of the cheerleader effect and why you constantly seem to draw to these type of women or this persona is because there's something in you that you're not seeming to feel enough cheering going on, if you know what I mean. So, in closing, I want you to think about something so that you can understand. The cheerleader effect comes in handy once you've won. So, if you are on the uprise of trying to pursue or, succeed at what you're trying to do, and you are considering a lady or a woman choice of your taste, shall we say, take your time and really see if she is a cheerleader for real. Because if she is, there's some things that I'm going to explain on my Patreon that I'm not going to share here that you need to know by partnering and bringing her in as a full-time 100% 24/7 lover. This is what's important. If you don't know the actual true ambiance of the cheerleader outside of just those three attributes she brings, you'll be sadly disappointed in some of the things that the shadow self of the cheerleader brings. You won't know it unless you join my Patreon, and I will be sharing that very shortly. But on Patreon, I'm going to explain the shadow side of the cheerleader, because if you don't know what the shadow is, you won't have any idea. You'll just be still in the nostalgia of her being uplifting, encouraging, and bringing you joy, but you won't know, well, what's the underbelly of this? I'll give you that in Patreon. Make sure to sign up there. And my Patreon link is in the comment section. Also, be sure to share this video. I want to make sure that men are understanding that, yeah, it's fine to have the taste of lady that you like, but also understand that your success in this particular type, with having this particular type of persona as your main lover, there comes pros and cons to it. So I'll give you just one, like I said earlier. You have to be mindful that sometimes, yes, they like to cheer you on, but they also like to see it come from success first. They want to see the win. And so here's what's maybe difficult is if you have a downturn, a loss, a struggle, the cheerleader might either detach from the relationship, they may walk away, or they may supplement and get something else. Still stay with you, but they might supplement on the side because cheerleaders want the soft life. They desire to have the best of what's out here. So with that said, you want to make sure you're aware that, ooh, I'm not sure if she's going to hold it down for the long haul. That's something you have to decide and understand and be okay with. If that's the case or not, you can handle it. Because with this cheerleader effect, you also have to be able to handle it. So you have to know, well, what is actually your tolerance and your capacity for someone that may feel a little bit temperamental if you have downturns, losses, or, upsets. What's that going to look like? You got to think about this stuff. And a lot of times, the cheerleader feels good. Absolutely. But will the cheerleader long term, will she stick it out with you in the downturns or the disadvantages? So something to think about, be mindful of, okay? Like I said, on my Patreon, I'm going to give a little more detail about what the shadow self of the cheerleader looks like. I'm also going to explain some of the things a man needs to be very aware of when he deals with a cheerleader, because it's very important that a man is aware of, oh, I have this lady, and you may already be in a relationship with a cheerleader. So, and it's already established and you have no desire to leave it, that's fine. But understanding it better is also going to be to your benefit, because now you have more to, I would say you have more of a capacity by understanding and learning the persona of the cheerleading woman. A lot of times when you understand someone better, the actual intimacy gets better. The actual relationship and relating to each other improves, because now you actually are sitting back like, oh, this whole time I didn't know this part of her. I just would get mad, or I would just get I don't know, I would just disregard it, or I would just downplay it. I never really realized that that's a part of this persona. Yes. And so the more you understand the cheerleader and the effects of it, you will start to understand, oh, that's why she's doing X, Y, and Z. Yes, that's why. And then you will now be able to devote, commit, and be a different man to a cheerleading woman, so that you're now able to hold it down in a different way, if you know what I mean. So make sure to sign up for my Patreon. Like I said, it's Carla Nicole over on Patreon, patreon.com. And don't forget to share this video, like and comment, and make sure you tell me what you think about the cheerleader effect. I am going to go over the other personas. And like I said, there's 3 others that is good for you to know. There's a princess effect. There's a partner. And there's also a builder. So again, there's different personas of women. And in understanding these personas, it's going to help you to engage better, be more understanding of each other, and it's also going to help clear some things up for you. Trust me. All right, guys, I'm out of here. It's your coach, Carla Nicole. I'm signing off, guys. Best kept.